Hello again and welcome. Today's video is going to be part 2 of the beginner's guide revisited, the Skew Chisel. There are several reasons for doing 2 videos, the main reason being that there was too much information really to put into one video. The first part was 18 minutes odd anyway, which I think is long enough. The other reason is it gives you an opportunity to answer any questions or queries, and there were several. 2 faux pas on my behalf. Number one, when I was describing the 3 square sectioned skews that I have, I went from a 1/2 inch, 3/4 inch to a 1/2 inch again, whereas obviously it was a 1/2 inch, 3/4 inch and 1 inch wide, so my apologies for that. The other mistake was when I was doing a slicing cut across end grain at the end of the piece. It is actually called a slicing cut, as I've just said, but I called it a peeling cut, which was another error of mine, so apologies. YouTube haven't got the facility now, once a video is up, where you can put some text to correct a mistake, so that is a little bit of a bit annoying, but nevertheless, especially with the amount of mistakes that I normally make. So that's going to be the reason. The other reason as well was that a couple of people asked about sharpening the radius skew. Well, that is really quite an easy operation. Well, in fact, the 1/2 inch skew, which was a standard grind, I actually reground to that for the last video, so I'll be putting it back to the radius profile that I prefer, and I'll show you my method of doing that. Those of you that follow me know I've got a Pro Edge, which is a belt sander linisher type sharpening system, but the same method applies whether you have that or you have the more popular bench grinder with wheels. Okay, so that will basically cover what, and I'm going to go through a few more cuts that I didn't do in the last video as well, and hopefully you'll pick up some hints and tips on this video as well. Okay, let's get on with part 2 of the beginner's guide revisited, the Skew Chisel. So here I've got a piece of Meranti or Sapele on, and it's a square piece. It's about 2.5 inches square, and the first cut I'm going to show you is the peeling cut, and this is bringing this down to round. Again, the lathe turning it around 2000 revs, and what you do is anchor, and this is where the straight part here on my bevel aids, and literally lift the handle and go along the piece, just lifting the handle into the work, giving downward pressure with your left hand. Start again. Now run the chisel across the work, just to see how we've achieved that now, where we've got to. As you can see, we're starting to get it round. I'll speed this up a little bit. Now when you get to there, just get that so you know where you've got to get to get rid of all the edges. So that's your peeling cut, and now a planing cut along the piece, and one more. And you've got it virtually round. Now the next cut is also a peeling cut, where you want to make a tenon. And again, the beauty of this straight piece on that bevel allows you to do that. Now, as long as you don't go into the radius part, you're going to get a square edge. And then you can just plane across to get it nice and smooth. And that gives a really nice finish for your tenon. I know you could use a parting tool, but I'm just showing the flexibility of the skew. Now what I'm going to do is form a tenon here for my chuck and put a slight dovetail on it, and then I can put it in the chuck and we can do a round over, and I can show you that as well. Okay, so now I've cut that blank down a bit so I can show you what I was talking about. When we're going along this way, it's a planing cut. Now if I'm going to round over, then it starts to go into the end grain, which is then, in my opinion, a slicing cut. Right leg forward because you're going around this way. Again, rub the bevel. So we're going to be doing, first of all, a twist, lift the handle, get the cut. We're going to be getting, that is a planing cut. Now as soon as we start to round over, we're starting to go into end grain. And notice, as I'm going around the corner, I'm moving the tool along, and then as soon as I want to start to bring my curve, I'm lifting, still moving, and lifting and twisting to keep the bevel contact. Now what I'm going to do here is complete this. To there, and then what I could do here, you can see a really good finish too. What I'm going to do here is do a slicing cut on that little bit of end grain there, and I'll change the camera angle for that. So now I'm going to do a slicing cut over the face here, over the end grain. You can see it's quite torn out here, and hopefully we'll get a nice finish. Again, the lathe at the same sort of speed. Tool rest just where, just on when your tool is on horizontal at the middle, so just on center height. As I said in the previous video, your bevel 90 degrees to the work, make your entry, and start to go towards the middle. Now that's not a very good cut, but you can see hopefully already on the outside here how much better the grain is. Again, get your entry. The distance between this part of the bevel and the work, I know I said this in the previous video, but I don't think I can go over it too much, is as tight to the face as you can get it. Obviously not too tight, otherwise you're going to go over and get a catch. But that is the idea, and as I keep saying, I'm no expert, but with practice and this is very hard wood as well, which is a good test. Now you can see already how much smoother that is becoming. We'll have one more go and then that'll be it on this cut. So again, and that's quite an acceptable finish, apart from the little bit in the middle there, but I think you get the idea. There's also here an opportunity to show you, you can actually use your skew chisel as a negative rake scraper as well, especially on end grain. So what I do is make the tool rest at the height where I am at center point on the horizontal, and then literally touch the work and bring it across. And again, I think you'll see there what a lovely finish that leaves. Need to go back a few more times, and again the beauty of the radius skew is that you negate the chance of getting a catch. Now we can get rid of that dimple as well just by using it almost like a scraper. So again, run it across the work. You can see the fine shavings that we're getting. Just pressure downwards and then very little pressure needed, and you can see there a really nice smooth finish. I just wanted to do one more angle so you can see exactly where on the edge I'm cutting, and as you can see there I've got a nice bit of clearance at the toe and a nice bit of clearance at the heel. So turn the lathe on, just downward pressure, and start in the middle and bring across the work. You could do it the other way as well, but I've got my tailstock in the way at the moment and I don't see the point. So start again and again, bit of pressure and across the work. And again you can see a lovely smooth finish. And here I've got the 1/2 inch skew which has the standard straight over grind. And whether you've got a wheel, as I said before, or the Sorby Pro Edge or similar, the same principles apply. As I've said previously, I have a 25-degree bevel and the table is set to 25 degrees. So all I have to do now is switch on and start. As you can see, it's starting to come. And the other side, the whole idea is to get them even. I mean, this obviously is the coarse belt, and you would use your coarse wheel that you do your reshaping with, and you can see already we've got virtually the profile I'm looking for, a slight radius. Now I might do a little bit more there, but now the important thing, as I say always, is the little straight bit at the toe. And you do that when it's perpendicular. And there we have it. Simple. And now I'll just change the belt to a finer grit and give it a nice polish and have it really sharp. So that's how to turn your standard grind skew chisel into a radius skew chisel. Well, that completes the second part of the skew chisel videos for beginners. I hope you found it of interest. I know I covered a few things that I covered in the first video, but I don't think that really matters, because the more often you see those cuts, hopefully the more au fait you get with them. I always say practice, 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 and I think that is very true. Hopefully I showed how versatile the skew chisel can be, and it's not a tool to be afraid of. Treat it with respect, as you should with all your tools, and when you've done some practice and got some experience under your belt, it'll be a very satisfying wood turning tool to use as well. Well, thanks very much indeed for watching. Don't forget to subscribe, and I'll see you very soon. Cheers now.